but on coming to Iowa, labored for a time with the Methodist Protestant Church. Subsequently, however, returning to the United Brothers. Much of his time in Appalachia County has been devoted to the work of the Master, holding himself always in readiness to give religious instruction or consolation, and being always glad to proclaim the gospel whenever and wherever the people will listen.
Wow.
Mr. Moore was married February 24th, 1858 to Miss Maria Myers, who was born in Loudoun County, Virginia, November 1831. They had 3 children. When he left here, he had 2, Maria and Sally. But anyway, this is Arnold's brother that I just read to him. And
Great.
I have letters in here, and I can't find a copy of it, but I had 2 letters that they corresponded with each other. And one of them was he traded his 110 acres. He got another of developed land, called developed land, and he was able to purchase a team of horses, which were more expensive than oxen, but he didn't know how to work the oxen. So he bought the horse, and it talks in there about how many bushels of corn he got per acre, and how much easier it was to farm in Iowa than it was in West Virginia. And his wife, Maria, in the letter now just said that she wouldn't own a farm in West Virginia if somebody gave it to her. That's after they left. So, which was quite, comical. And then here's a letter that
I thought that was interesting because this place kind of tends to create a love or hate relationship with people. Some people love it, other people like, nope, not doing that.
And this is a letter from N. Hefner, which was a family friend. And there's some of it I couldn't make out because it was all stained, but this is his answer to Elizabeth, Arnold Moore's wife. Mrs. Elizabeth A. Moore. Your letter came to hand yesterday, bearing date July the 31st, and was glad couldn't make it out, that you was all well, but sorry to hear of the ribs getting all that honey, for I had been making very large calculations about eating some of it this fall myself, but I will cheerfully accept some of them big onions if all the honey is gone. I have had but one mess of onions since I was at home until last night I bought, which made me a tolerable mess, and them cost 10 cents. J.R. Moore, who Randolph, the one I just, and I was down to town today, and this was written from Beverly, West Virginia. And I think it's up around Philippi, isn't it?
It's right outside of Elkins.
Yeah, okay. That's where he was at when he wrote this letter.
20.
I was down to town today to see our rebel prisoners. They are hard cases. One is a Texas Ranger, but they are well contented, as I suppose have more to eat than they in Dixie. We have not heard from Randolph since he wrote from Camp Parole to JRM, which was Randolph Moore. It is reported that there is some Rebs coming as to get our crackers. But I don't hardly credit the report. But we are here before them and getting pretty well fit to give them good accommodations, or at least we will do the best for them that we can. But I'm afraid they will not come, or at that can't be. And the next page was, well, I have nothing to write at this time and too lazy to write it. This is 3 letters that I have tried to write today and failed every time. I will have to write a few blah blah blah, and I will not try. And I think it was to write. The last 2 was right for a week unless I know something to write before I commence. Please write soon as this comes to hand. That's about all I had. Eugene Moore, Ulysses Grant Moore, and I can bet you everybody can guess who he was named after. You know, Seth? Huh?
Yeah.
You don't know who Ulysses Grant Moore was named after? I don't want to put you on the spot.
He said it.
They don't know Ulysses Grant.
Yeah.
Very famous, Ulysses Grant.
And he was born in 1864. And died in 1936.
Wow.
And he was the executor of this of Arnold Moore's property. And there was Eugene Moore. He was the youngest. There was Joe Moore. He had the property over the hill, which belonged to Arnold. Then there was that was Joe. Then there was Jim. I don't know where exactly Jim got his piece of the Arnold Moore farm. I don't. And then there was Arnold, Joe, Jim. That's ones I can remember right now. And
Who was Sarah married to?
who?
Sarah
Ulysses.
was married to
Sarah,
Ulysses.
yeah, he married Sarah Elizabeth Stout from over at
Okay, that's
He
when I
the
thought.
Goose. That's Stout's
related
Mill.
to the Moors, related to the Moors and the Stouts. You better watch out.
What's that?
I said, I'm related to Moors and Stouts, and I said, you better watch out. We're all going to be related.
Are you? Oh, okay.
And I know there was a gentleman here in the county that was well known, and I know of him, but his name was T.J. Marshall. T.J. Marshall. Wasn't it T.J. Marshall?
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall.
Yeah, when he
TM wasn't it?
T.M. Marshall. And he was a instructor at the Glenville Normal School back then, and he was in Oklahoma. I think he was in some kind of teaching or something there too. But anyway, he married my grandmother's sister, Sarah's sister. So we're waited to the Marshalls that come out here.
We're related to Marshalls, too.
Oh, how funny. Oh, my goodness.
There was a Moore.
That's why Bob had to leave the area.
Gene. There
So you
was a
find somebody
Moore
wasn't
that
related to.
owned where her grandfather lived. He bought it off of a Moore at 1903.
1906, wasn't it?
6. And I don't
was in
remember what the
San
first part of, but I can look at it later on and see.
That's when Grandpa McCullough died.
Eugene
Grandpa
Moore
Bennett. Grandpa Bennett.
had
Jane.
Is this dog Chihuahua? It's got the
called him
markings of
Eugene.
Chihuahua.
This is Esma.
You know, I don't know what she is. But
His oldest son,
did you get anything?
Eugene Moore, which would have been my
Nobody gave you a hot dog.
uncle. His name was Randolph Lester Moore.
Family ladder.
And the name Randolph is has a meaning to it because back through the Moore there is Randolphs. There's from back to him there's 3 Randolphs. But if you go back further, their ancestries, they were Fritz Randolph. So they have carried that Randolph name through by naming their children, which nobody ever does that anymore.
Jackson.
Merrick.
Huh?
Merrick is
Yeah, but
the,
these are last names.
yeah, but
Oh,
Merrick
I
was
see.
the last
Okay.
name in Leslie's
Yeah,
family.
rather than first
When
name.
Dr.
So in other words, they
Randolph from,
incorporated
Braxton County,
their ancestries.
my
My name is Irvin. My middle name is Irvin. And my grandmother, my great grandmother was an Irvin, and that made it named after my great grandmother. Then there was a Nellie Moore. That was the next oldest of Eugene's. And then a Clarice Opal.
Clarice.
She had the property over the hill. You probably remember Burl Knight and Clarice Knight. You don't remember them?
Basil.
Basil
They
Basil
might.
and Andy.
They might.
Basil and Andy.
Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
They were.
Yeah, that was their mother. And then there was Victor. What I know about him was he worked pipeline. He was a foreman on pipeline. He went over the country working on pipeline. That's most of it. Then there was Vivian, and Vivian is Lorna's mother. Maybe you people have heard of Lorna. She's a wine, but now Lorna
I
wine.
know her.
Huh?
We know her.
Yeah, she's in the
And
nursing
then there
home
was
right now.
Ormida Beatrice. Now that was my mother. Her name was Ormida Beatrice. And that's so then it came down to and she married Opal. His name was Opal Tim. My father's name was Opal Tim. He didn't like the name Opal. So he changed his name to James, but some of the older records, will have his name Opal. Even some of the letters that Mom wrote to him when he was away from home, she called him Opal.
You know,
So I only knowed him as James.
I
or Jim.
used to watch the Andy Griffith Show. Remember the little boy named Opie? That's short for Opal.
Opal.
So my grandfather was an Opie.
Okay, then their children, James T. and Ormida, was Robert J. That his dad, and then Sadie Elizabeth, which was your Aunt Betty, who lived down there.
Sadie?
I didn't know her
Sadie
first name was
Elizabeth.
Sadie.
Huh?
I didn't know her first name was Sadie.
Sadie Elizabeth.
And she went by Betty.
Her name
Remember
was
her as
Sadie?
a teenager.
Aunt Betty's name was Sadie?
Yep.
I didn't know
And
that.
then
Everyone hated their
Debbie's dad, and it was James Moore Marks. So he had the Moore
Oh, I didn't
name
know that.
in his name. And then Jerry Max, which is next to me.
This
And
looks like Joy Sand's dog.
they called him, Mom said they called him Max because Grandma Blanche called him Jury. Instead of calling him Jerry, she pronounced it Jury. And she didn't like that, so she made everybody call his name
That's
Max.
an Appalachian accent. I guess.
Junior.
I like that.
And,
I suspect that Basil was supposed to be Basil.
but that's about all I wanted to tell you. I just, some of the little
That was
things.
nice.
That's
Gene.
wonderful.
That was nice.
That is cool.
Had all that.
How long did it take you to put that together to find all that info?
I don't know how long it take me to go.
Oh,
He
you
went around
were
the country
probably all
looking.
winter or more.
And I stayed in the room most of the time.
The day doing it.
Have y'all
Some days I didn't get out of my pajamas.
have y'all thought about, I don't know how y'all feel about Ancestry.com? Have y'all thought about
Oh, he's
adding
been
that?
on that.
That's where a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
this comes from.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if you added it or
Yeah.
because that'd be nice to know for other people if they're looking.
It's very neat.
And,
Very,
but
very
that's
cool.
about it. I don't have anything.
What a blessing to have all that history.
But if you,
Okay. If I get cold, I got this blouse. So I just wrap up in it.
I could get you a sweater or something.
I got this blouse to wear with white socks on, heavy white socks. And I never wear it, so I put it on today.
Yeah, you first go back to your game now.
I don't know how long I've had it, but I've never won it but once.
Yeah.
Sure, you guys don't want anything to eat? I know there's.
Oh, there's lots of good food. You better go get some.
Mom,
had a piece of
have you
Hey,
got
Gene.
your